Hello, today I will show you scenario 2 with my house rules. So it's a bigger board, so this is starting to be a serious battle. I'll show you the orc forces first. This is a new boss mob with heavy armor. So he will have a 4+ save. And then sluggers with rocket launcher. Thief breakers, there are 4 shooters with a bit of ammo and then a killer can also, but the killer can move on its own. Death Dread with extra armor, and then as reinforcements the Gretchen mob that will come in a battle wagon with Death Roller. Also as reinforcements I will try out the Blitzer Bomber, who will do strafing runs on my Space Marines. The Space Marines are tactical squad Verlanes, so the same can be applied to the Space Marines. So the heavy bolter is depleted, but I will put some Space Marine from this squad into this squad. Okay, just like the orcs do, in order to protect the special weapons, you can swap. There's also Brother Malcian with his 2 attached squads. There's Brother Ignacio in his dedicated Rhino, and there's also an attack bike coming in. Then there's also Veteran Squad Vanguard with some extras. Today the scenario is that the Space Marines have to take in the wall. So they just cannot hang back and shoot, because there's very good shooters. So the easy way would be to shoot the orcs from far, but they have 6 turns before the orcs come in masses. So when turn 7 starts, I will have orc squads coming in from here, whatever happens. A lot of orc boys, shooters and sluggers, who will swarm the wall. If the Space Marines are not on the wall by then, they most probably will not make it. So then still have till end of turn 8 to repel the orcs, but after that it's game lost for the Space Marines. Now an extra house rule I just thought about is that the Space Marines cannot come into these rocky outcroppings. Imagine yourself in a full medieval knight armor and trying to climb between rocks and on rocks, etc. And the orcs, they can. So that's a big advantage for the orcs. They can clamber around in these rocky outcroppings and get a +2 save. So as for deployment, they can go three squares deep on the board. So we have Brother Voloranos comes here, Brother Venasio here in the middle. Then you have Brother Malcian with his 2 units. And that is the starting forces for the Space Marines. Then we go to the orcs. The shooters and the killer can, they are all activated at the same time. The orc mob with attached to him a big shooter, just because. And then we have here sluggers with a rocket launcher, and the Death Dread is over there, ready to go through the wall, to the breach in the wall, and to attack the Space Marines. So now we put all these tokens into the box. Start of turn 1, the Space Marine reinforcements. I roll a 4, so this means that my Vanguard squad can directly come onto the board. They come into play. I'll have them come onto the board at the same space of Brother Venasio with his Rhino. Next up is Space Marine unit number 2, so that's Brother Malcian. So I'm gonna move the last cannon in the crater, so they're a bit protected, and the other 2 units also move forward. Like this. Same applies as for the Orc mobs. The special characters, like Brother Malcian, they cannot be targeted separately. Next up is Squad for Linus. So I have them advance their full move, taking advantage of the rocks to take cover behind. And there is also this building that is obstructing the site, not completely, it's just a -2, but that means that most orcs can't hit me by shooting me. I just have to take care not to come too much in the line of sight of this big shooter, because he might hurt me. So next up is an orc. The orc Sluggas with the rocket launcher. So I'll have them advance as much as possible. They are over here, because they're too far away from the Space Marines to shoot. So they advance their full move. 2 are within the building, 2 are behind the building, so they're pretty difficult to hit by the Space Marines. No luck for the orcs, they roll too low, there's no reinforcements coming yet. Now it's the Orc mob turn to activate. He starts here. They're doing the full movement, well, the Orc mob not, he stays behind his meat shield, but the big shooter will be, next time he will be able to shoot at the Space Marines normally. Next up is Unit 3 of the Orcs. That's the Thief Breakers with the Killer Can. So they're over here. I'm just having them advance as much as possible, because they can't shoot the Space Marines through this building anyway. So the shoot has to move forward while staying in unit coherency. The Killer Can has to make a little detour around the building, because the building is difficult terrain for him, impassable terrain for him. Unit number 4 of the Orcs, which is the Death Dreads. Okay, he's got a movement of 3, but he's got a move and shoot option. So I'm having him close in with the Space Marines and at the same time shooting. So it advances 2 hexes, and then he's going to shoot with his right hand weapon, because that gives him a +3 against infantry. The Death Dread rolls a 5, +3 is 8, and the Space Marines are 5 within cover of 1 is 6, so they have to roll a armor save and they miss it. So the last cannon unit takes a wound. Last unit to be activated is Brother Venasio. Just another house rule, the squad that took a wound, the last cannon squad, they have this counter on them. If they do not move, they stay with their wounded, and they can be helped by the medic. if they move, they leave their wounded behind and they die. So the only way for them to save the wounded is to stand still by the wounded and wait for the medic to arrive. So now I'm having Venancio move as fast as possible to this squad. The Rhino of Brother Venancio moved 4 hexes and disembarked Brother Venancio, but he had to move 3 squares to get to the unit. Another house rule: if Brother Venancio is in the same square as the adjacent square to the unit to be healed, he can roll 2 dice. If he has to move 1 or 2, he can move 1 die, and if he moves more than that, he has to wait for the next turn. So now he's gonna have to wait for the next activation, and then he can use 2 die to try to heal up the lascannon squad. Okay, it's turn number 2, and it's start off with unit number 2 of the orcs, which are the sluggers with rocket launcher, who are over there. They move forward as much as possible, and the rocket launcher even gets into the rocky outcropping, so he's got a 2+ save on his side. Meanwhile, this unit is blocking line of sight to the death threat that's behind them, so that's good for the orcs. And next turn maybe they can assault the Space Marines, but they activate first. Next up is Tactical Squad Forlanus, which are here. So let's see what they can do to counter this orc infestation. Okay, I let all the Space Marines advance 2 hexes, except for Vorlanis himself, who is advancing 3. So these 3 units can do a move and shoot. And why did I go so much forward? That's because I will not be in the line of sight of this big shooter. At least he will have the building between him and the Space Marines, which will give them a cover save. I'll start off the shooting phase with my heavy bolter, shooting at the closest orc unit in front of him. He rolls a 2 plus 4 minus 2 from move and shoot, and there's the -2 modifier from the building, so he's not rolling high enough to hit the orcs. Next up, I will shoot the plasma gun just in front of him at the same orc unit. This is not good. He rolls a 1, which is not enough either. Now it's the tactical squad that's in the building that's gonna shoot at this unit. There is no cover save anymore because he's also inside the building. Okay, he makes up for his brethren bad shooting. He rolls a 6 plus 2 and oh no, -2 from moving and shooting, so it's only a 6 after all. So he just manages to wound the orcs in front of him. So the orc shooters are turned over to their depleted side. Next up is the orc mob, who's very close by, so this might hurt. The big shooter advances 1, so he can roll 1 die, and he's now able to see the Space Marines that are over there, so he's gonna shoot them. And the boss mob has advanced and is going to assault this unit. At first we're doing the shooting phase. The orc big shooter rolls a 3 plus 3 against infantry, He can see Vorolanus, but he cannot target him because it's attached to his other Space Marines. Now, this unit he cannot see either because he's got this wall, so he can see this, this, and this. So he's going to target the heavy bolter squads, and they rolled their armor save and failed. So these are on their depleted sides. On top of it, he gets a suppressed marker. That's also house rule of mine. When you shoot a weapon that's suppressing, you just shoot your machine gun at something and he's gonna be suppressed unless you roll only one. Otherwise, the unit is always gonna be suppressed and maybe in best case scenario also wounded. So now it's the assault phase. Owls already rolled, and luckily for the Space Marines they rolled very good. So now Boss Mob is going to take a armor save. Now he misses his armor save, so he's gonna get wounded. Even though he's in close contact, base contact with other orcs, he's fighting hand to hand with a unit, so he cannot have some of these orcs take the wounds for him. That's impossible. So he goes into a wounded state, and from now on he's gonna be a little bit of a coward. As soon as he can, he will retreat to behind the wall or something. Next up is Brother Malcian. Brother Malcian, who is over there in a bit of a problem. I will have them stand their ground, because if they retreat a little bit, they will leave the last cannon team behind and lose the wounded. So they're just gonna stand and fire at will. The tactical marines fire first, and they fire the rocket launcher. They roll very high. 5 plus 3 is 8. Normally that would be annihilation, but since they are in cover, the target value is 6 instead of 4. So it's not double, but the rocket launcher take a wound. So they've taken a wound, but now Brother Malcian is going to finish the job. He rolls a 6, so the rocket launcher is completely obliterated. The last cannon squad is not gonna shoot. Why? Because if they shoot this boys squad, they cannot shoot anyone else because the rock is in the way. If they shoot this one and annihilate it, they will be in direct line of fire of this Death Dread. So they're just gonna hold their ground and not fire. Which is good, because the Death Dread is the next unit to be activated. And he's over there. So as he cannot see anybody, he's just gonna advance maximum move, and he will be very close to the Space Marines. So there is only 1 square away from the Space Marines, so if he gets activated before the Space Marines next turn, this might get nasty for the Space Marines. Next up are the Orc reinforcements, but they still roll low. So that means the Gretchen mob has not yet arrived in their battle wagon. That's good news for the Space Marines. Next up are the Vanguard Veteran Squad, Unit 4 of the Space Marines. And they are here, and I will have them come as much forward as possible to help out this unit of Space Marines. So they all moved forward, and hopefully the activation will have them move first. Otherwise the big shooter might do some damage, but they are very good in close combat, so if they activate next turn they will put some hurt on the orcs. Next up are the Thief Breakers, the unit 3 of the Orcs, which are here. So we'll have the Killer Can advance as much as possible, and the shooters, they are advancing or shooting, I'll see. So I'm having the shooters assault this squad of tactical marines in the building, and the Killer Can is going to do a move and shoot instead of moving his full movement, because he has piercing shooting, so that's a very nasty thing. So he rolls a 4 plus 4 minus 1 is 7, which is still enough to wound the Space Marines, so they are depleted. I've repositioned the shooter unit that was outside the building, because that's not logical. He's not in unit currency with his squad. So now I'm gonna start doing the assaults one unit at a time against always the same tactical marines. So at the end of the turn they will have a +3. For the last unit will have a +3 bonus in assault. So I'm starting with the lower and I'll go up. So the York first roll is already a very good one. He's got a 6 plus 1 plus 1, that's 8, and the Marines have 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. So they have an armor save coming up. And they miss, so this squad is annihilated. So the Orc unit takes in the place of the Space Marines, but that's the end of their turn, because the other are not assaulting anymore. Next up is Brother Venasio, so he's going to try to heal up this unit, standing still adjacent to the squad, so he can roll 2 die, hopefully getting a 4+. Well, the unit is more than healed, so I'll return them to their good side, and they can continue the battle. Meanwhile, I'm having the Rhino reverse two hexes and shoot with 1 die without modifier, but he only rolls a 1, so that's not enough to wound this unit. I totally forgot about the attack bike attached to Brother Venasio, so I'm having him come up now, and he's gonna try to do something heroic and shoot the Death Dread. So he moved only 2, so he gets to roll 1 die without modifier. He rolls a 5 plus 5 against heavy vehicles. So that's 10, and the Death Dread has 8, so he takes a hit. The Death Dread has extra armor, but that is only +1, so it would have given him 9 instead of 8. But that's not enough because it was 10. So now I'm looking at this category of heavy vehicle. I roll the die for the Space Marines. If I'm not mistaken, it's the yellow category. So I roll 1, so whatever happens, it's immobilized. So the Death Dread is immobilized for the rest of the game. So I put the immobilized marker on it, so we do not forget. It is immobilized for the rest of the game. So that is the end of turn 2. I will upload this video and continue with turn 3 in the next video. Thanks for watching.